welcome to what probably looks like the saddest about to be eating show ever. I have got a meal that, okay, because you guys were very vocal about your thoughts about me eating pizza the other week. Just gonna, yep, 'tis what it is. So I'm gonna show you what I would normally eat when not eating takeout, because that will apparently make y'all feel a bit better about my life or something. Oh my gosh, you guys. One of the many reasons why I stopped doing eating shows. Is because of people's immense vocality. It's not a word, but people really like to vocalize about other people's food and eating habits, like way more than anyone should. But thankfully, I'm in a good mental space. Where I'm not seeing things as all or nothing. You know, I can treat myself to foods every now and then. Hence, I've also got this little assortment of treats because this is going to be posted on Christmas Eve, which is going to be different for many of us this year, for sure. By the way, I'm sure some of you are thinking, Cassie, what is this delicious meal you have before you? Please enlighten us. Well, I've got steamed broccoli, cause yum, with a slice of cheese torn up on top of it, with lemon pepper and salt. Delicious. And then I have 2 veggie patties. I believe it's the Morningstar brand. It's the Griller's Prime patties. I'm just noticing. Do you guys have a window to my fupa? There. I mean, I'm actually wearing shorts, so like I'm not too worried about what y'all may or may not see, but anywho. Did I say Griller's Prime? They're so good. And I eat this a lot. It really never gets old. You know, some things get old. Certain meals. This one rarely does. Rarely does. So, it's what I'm eating. And like I said before, I cut myself off. Oh, and another thing, cutting myself off again. I apologize that my microphone picks up on all of my eating noises. I know that some people don't care. Some people actually like that. I personally don't like that, but if I don't use my microphone, I have to use my camera microphone, and it just doesn't sound good. You know, the acoustics aren't as good and everything, so it's kind of one of those 'tis what it is moments. But if you have never tried lemon pepper in general, I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on lemon pepper. It makes everything delicious, but especially vegetables. I guess green vegetables in particular. And to that, I actually say I'm just thinking about broccoli and asparagus. I'm sure it would be good on like Brussels sprouts, but lemon pepper is an essential seasoning, at least in my household. But like I said, before I cut myself off twice, let's not do it a third time. I'm gonna have broccoli all up in my teeth. Warning. But just Christmas Eve. Hey G, Galileo was saying, I want some green things. Trying to climb on my plants. If you knock those pots over, babe, I mean, I would never actually kill you, but okay. Am I ever gonna get to this point that I'm trying to make? Christmas! Happy holidays, my friends. Whatever it is that you may or may not celebrate this time of year, it's a great time for just some cheer and happiness. And one thing that I was not gonna let the thing that is going on in the world right now and has been for 2020, I'm not gonna let that take all of Christmas away from me. So I decided, because I can't get together and make cookies with my mom this year, like I usually do, I decided to surprise her and some other family members and friends with some holiday cookies. So I picked out an assortment to make. Normally there's a couple other varieties that I would make, one of which that I wanted to make, but I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure if it was going to be too much, since I wanted to try making this zebra shortbread that I had seen my friend Carmen making on one night when we were doing a house party app chat thing. It just looked beautiful, and so I wanted to try it, and so I figured, since I'm going to have this shortbread, I mean, it's not like snowball cookies. Some people call them, excuse me, what do they call it? Mexican wedding cakes, I think. I've always called them snowballs, I guess because of the time of the year that my family always made them. But I just thought that, plus cookie making exhaustion. I mean, for the past 5 days, I've made a cookie a day. Now, granted, the Rolo pretzel things, A, not a cookie, B, really not that much. It's more like tedious work, you know? Because when you think about it, it's just a pretzel, a Rolo, and then a pecan on top. And then I personally do red and green sprinkles because it makes it look more festive, especially because I could not find, for the life of me, I went to probably upwards of 10 different grocery stores in my area in, like, you know, a 20-30 mile radius. Could not find the holiday shaped pretzels to save my freaking life. I was so bummed. So, regular shaped pretzels this year. Figure it would be better than nothing. Because they're just such a staple. You know, just like a little, just pop it in your mouth, yum. I don't know. I love them, but they're just tedious. Those and caramels and what we in my family call dainty delights. So tedious. All just take hours to make if you make them on your own. I mean, I was always appreciative before that I got to, you know, make Christmas cookies with my family each year, but especially after this year. I mean, not only do I appreciate my family more because I don't get to see them, but, you know, in person, but also the teamwork makes the dream work. You know, it's so nice that, you know, each family member, how many times did I just say, you know, please don't count, it'll upset you. But, you know, each family member would bring a different dough to the cookie making, and then we could just make the cookies from there. Having the dough pre-made and not having to wash the mixing bowl and everything in between each batch of dough, it saves so much time. As I said, not the end of the world, and I was really happy to make this stuff, you know. Especially because my mom and my stepdad are moving, and so they've got all their stuff packed up right now because they're moving in I think a week, 2 weeks. So my mom wasn't going to be able to make Christmas cookies, and so she didn't know that I was making Christmas cookies, but I thought it would be a nice surprise. You know? Bring a little bit of normalcy back to this time of year. But so I figured I'd feast on some cookies. I'm not going to eat all of these, but a little display of what I made this year. Because I'm proud. Darn it. Also, my favorite barbecue sauce, not sponsored. I doubt they ever would want to, but hey, Sweet Baby Ray's, if you want to. Their honey barbecue sauce, woohoo! I love it. It's so good. And I just coat these patties in it because I like it. And I don't know, you guys, the point of eating shows, I think, is not to comment on people's health and that sort of thing. You know, we're here to share a meal together. You know, I'm not judging what you're eating. Heck, I don't even know what you're eating unless you put it in the comments below, which, P.S., psst, I would like that. I would like to know what you're eating. But we all are on different journeys, different paths. We all have different digestive tracts, and my friends. It's a touchy subject. It's a really touchy subject, and I really wish people wouldn't talk about other people's health unsolicited. You know, just because you're eating a meal with someone doesn't mean that your advice is, or sometimes it's not even advice, but opinions sometimes, still not solicited. Actually, it's just plain old not, unless someone straight up asks for it. So, Anyways, how are you all? I hope you all are doing well. You know, doing the best that you can. I know I am. Doing the best that I can. And I'm in a good spot right now anyways, mentally. We've got a snowstorm going on outside. Yikes, but also not like I have anywhere to go. I do have a prescription to go pick up, but that's gonna have to wait because I don't think it's safe to drive right now in the storm that we've got going on here in Minnesota. But hey, I'm just excited. We're gonna have a white Christmas. It wasn't looking that way, but now, a handful of days before then, we got snow, we got snow, we got snow. Did you hear that gust of wind? I did. By the way, a brand that I would never accept a sponsorship from unless they change their freaking product is this ella brand. Dang, do I like the look of their stuff. I had had a water bottle from them a while ago, and then I noticed I only used water in it. Like, I know some people might do like iced tea or iced coffee or whatever else. I only used it for water, and yet the straw, it was not like one of these kinds of straws. It was one of the like silicone sucky-on-y straws. And I noticed that it looked like there was like something in there, you know? Not quite like a dark charcoal looking mold. But I was like, okay, maybe I just had some, like, I really don't think I hardly ever backwash, but like maybe I had a really bad backwash moment the other day. Who knows? Not gonna think anything of it. I'm just gonna get a Q-tip in there, wash it out really good, whatever. Another week goes by, the same thing happened. And so I was looking up reviews. I'm like, am I that nasty? Or like, do I have that many spores in the air that it's just like happening? I don't know. But I looked up reviews online, and this is a very common problem throughout this brand's water bottles. And anytime like I was able to find a reply from the brand, like on Amazon or anything, it was like, oh no, you must have had a defect, or like, weird, try doing this so that that doesn't happen. And it's like, no. Water does cause mold. But you know, in something like silicone or whatever else that it's made out of, stainless steel, those are supposed to be mold proof. So like, what the heck? And so I gave up on that water bottle, and I was looking for a new water bottle, and this was the one that I liked the best. And I was like, it's from the same brand, but at least it's got a different kind of straw. Like, it'll be better. It'll be great. And it mostly is great, but cliffhanger! For whatever reason, and again, I only ever have water in here, and it's purified filtered water. If I have the water, because this like, my memory card filled up, but this is one of those water bottles that's like vacuum sealed technology, keeps your triple steel insulation water extra cold. I think it can do hot stuff too, but it keeps your water like super cold for, you know, about 12 hours or so. I love it. I love it a lot. Like, that's what I wasn't liking about my big massive water bottle that I have, which like I love because it gets me to drink a lot of water. It's just more convenient for me because I do drink a lot of water throughout the day, and then I don't have to constantly be filling up drinking apparatus. So I like just having it all there, but it doesn't stay cold because it's just plastic or whatever. This one, if you have like residual water in here, because with this one I liked to even just like keep it by my bed with water in it, so that in the middle of the night if I'm a little thirsty I can just roll over and cold water. I don't have to get up and go to the fridge. But if I don't wash this like every 2 days, it gets a funky taste to it. Why? I mean, there's no mold. So it has to be something with the steel, or I don't know. But like, I can't recommend that brand ever. They make real sleek, nice looking stuff, but I honestly need to just use a different water bottle. Like, I don't know why I do know why, because I like that it keeps my water cold. And I figure it can't be too big of a problem. I don't know. Something's making the water taste funky though, so maybe it is a problem. That's a life choice that I'm gonna have to think about pretty soon here. Because like every time it gets that funky taste and I go to wash it, I'm like, you know what, I should just throw this out and use one of my other 20 water bottles. Because like I've got my Swell water bottles, which I love for like when I'm out and about, but they don't have a straw. And I like straw. It's so stupid. Anyways, I know people in my last eating show too, they were like, God, you're so boring, you have nothing to talk about, blah, blah, blah. Or the things that you do talk about don't have a point and this and that. I'm like, please enlighten me. I would love to hear about your stuck at home life and how interesting your days are. Because I mean, for me personally, this is my life. It's my apartment. And I mean my cats too, and you know, there's little things here and there. But for the most part, we're all stuck at home. Or we should be stuck at home. And I say stuck, but really it's a privilege if you can lock yourself down. That's how I'm viewing it anyways, and it's hard, but I know it's for the greater good. I'm just so excited. I think by next summer, us non-essential worker citizens should be able to get the big poke. I never know what words I kind of can't say on YouTube, but I await the day that I can, or that all of us can, and hopefully be better. So satisfying. And all that fiber. I won't go into detail on that, but fiber is good for you folks. And broccoli, as far as I know, is full of it. So, we're gonna have a Rolo pretzel cookie. Can you see? I know we're so far away, but it's just so simple and good. If you want to see these things ever get made, or if you want recipes or whatever, I did do a Christmas cookie vlog making thing. I think it was last year. It might have been 2 years ago. Like I said, I just tried out this zebra shortbread cookie delight. Don't they look a lot prettier when other people make them. Mine admittedly did not turn out the prettiest. And I would also say, I noticed this, of course, after I made the dough in that live stream with y'all. I scrolled down to the comments on the recipe blog post, and like the top comment said something about how these are way too salty. I don't think they're way too salty, but I do think if I ever make them again, I would cut back on the salt that was in the recipe. I think it could do with a little less. But that being said, I do think they turned out good. I definitely do. Or maybe I might even just like, because I think the whole recipe called for 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Maybe. But then then the recipe called for unsalted butter. I might just use salted butter and then not put in any added salt. Or maybe I would use salted butter and do like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I don't know. Either way, I really like the density of them. They're not too hard. You know, some shortbreads are really crispy. These have a nice, can you hear that little tappiness? I think, is that called a crumb? It's got a nice hardness on the outside, crispness, but then the inside is kind of fluffy. It's like a dense fluff. The biggest labor of love here, and thing that I was scared to make, was the caramels. It's my great-grandpa's recipe, and oh my gosh, anyone who has ever tried these caramels goes gaga over them. And my grandma, excuse me, my grandma would make them every year for Christmas. Around the holidays, but you know, as she has gotten older and people move away and all that kind of stuff, she just hasn't made Christmas cookies for probably the past like 5-6 years or something. I feel like she kind of started stopping right before I went to Boston, I think, if my memory serves me correctly, for grad school. And that's kind of when my mom and I picked up the tradition of making them together every year, cookies. And then we would get some up to her and my grandpa and to, you know, whatever family and whoever else wanted to join us, and whoever was there around the holidays. You know, we'd always have them out around the holiday dinners and stuff to munch on. And yeah, but my mom and I had never made her caramels. My grandma, I call her Grammy, but her dad's caramels, my great grandpa, lineage. But they're so good. And like, even my dad, who, you know, my mom and dad were together for a long time before they got divorced. I think they were together for like 10 years before they had my brother and I. I feel like they were dating for 2 or 3 years, and then they were married for like 7 or 8 years, and then they had my brother, and then they had me, and then a year later they had enough of each other. But so every year, like, you know, my mom would take my brother and I up to see my grandma and grandpa, and my dad would always tell me, you know, like, Cass, Tony, you gotta grab me some Grammy's caramels and bring them home. He would always ask for caramels, because I guess, like, you know, when he was in the family, however you want to classify it, when he was married to my mom, there we go, and he would be over for the holidays, I guess he would always like stuff his pockets full. And he thought my grandma didn't notice, but my grandma always noticed. And she thought it was very endearing that my dad loved her cooking so much, just in general. But I'm sure I had a point to this story. I mean, people love these freaking caramels. They're really good, but I was always intimidated to make them because they're so good. And I'm like, what if I don't live up to the hype? But this year I figured, if I want to make this really freaking special by having cookies, I'm gonna make these dang caramels. And so I did, and they're almost perfect. I think I boiled them maybe like 30 seconds too long. Cause like you go through multiple phases of like melting a couple ingredients and bringing that to the softball stage. But then you add another ingredient like butter, and then bring it back. But no, I think like the second time around you go to the hardball stage, and then you add condensed milk and vanilla and that sort of a thing. And then once again you bring it to the softball stage, and then you're done. I think, but I was so concerned that third time around. I think all the other times I did a good job, but like, I think that third time around I waited a little too long. But I was just so nervous that I was going to pour it out into the pan for them to cool, and then they wouldn't harden up at all, and I would just have sugary soup. And so I think I was like 30 seconds too long, but either way, they're still good. They're just a little bit tougher to bite through, but you can still bite through them without cracking your teeth or anything. And they're so delicious. They're so good. But I also wasn't sure, because it wasn't written in my grandma's recipe, because I'm sure this is just something that she knew offhand. But like, you know, you pour them into a pan so that they cool and make a sheet so that you cut them up into rectangles and then wrap them in wax paper. And I was like, surely this is gonna stick to the pan, and then I'm gonna have to throw the pan away because I can't get these freaking caramels out of the pan. I was really nervous about that. Or it was just gonna stick to the pan and make a huge mess trying to like get them out with a spatula or something. And so I was like, you know what? I think the safe thing, you wrap them in wax paper. Like, let's just cover the pan in wax paper and then pour the caramel into that. And then, you know, it will come out with the wax paper, and then you can just peel the wax paper off and ta-da. So smart. Well, I don't know if it's because, you know, the caramel is like boiling, piping hot when you pour it onto the wax paper, but it sticks to the wax paper. So when I tried, but I was so happy, you know, the caramels came out of the pan, yay. But then when I was trying to peel the wax paper off, it just stuck to the whole bottom layer of the caramels. And so I had to, you know, not only cut all of the caramels, which I'm sure would have been a little easier to cut if I hadn't boiled them too long, but I was able to, you know, get everything cut. And then some of y'all are not going to believe me unless I like eat one of these for you. I promise I'm not like sending out rock hard caramels to people. So here's the caramel. They're just so buttery. But do you see it's just a little bit, or a little too hard. But once you warm them up, and maybe if you like stole them and put them in your pockets and kept them warm, they're so good. They're kind of reminiscent of like a Werther's caramel, and especially as hard as these ones are, you do kind of have to suck on it a little more. But yeah, so it just took so long slicing through the caramels and then having to cut off the bottom layer on each individual caramel so that I wasn't like giving people wax paper caramels. Oh, my friends, it was a journey. I should have just asked my grandma, but I didn't, and I suffered the consequences. But I will never forget that mistake of mine. So, blah, blah, blah. I really haven't even been eating for the past like 10 minutes, I'm sure. I hope you guys enjoyed sharing a meal with me here, though. I have caramel stuck to my teeth. My apologies, it'll dissolve soon, but I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me here and hearing some random Christmas cookie stories and whatever else I talked about. I just hope you guys enjoyed spending some time with me. Happy holidays. Again, remember, you are not alone. You've got people that you can hang out with virtually. Let's flatten the curve, please. So that next year we don't have to go through this again. And yeah, I just hope you guys are all doing well. Leave me comments down below. Try and keep them positive, and you know, if you have something negative to say, maybe think about keeping it to yourself. Not only on my videos, but anyone's videos. And yeah, just take care of yourselves. I hope you guys are well. And until next time, stay well until then. Bye. There's a snowstorm out there, Fig.